Where do you see the impact of AI? What do you see is the impact of AI in the music industry?
I think immediately what will happen is a lot of producers will go for cost cutting.
Is the Bollywood industry, perhaps the Bollywood music industry, a little dirty? Is it in murky waters? What do you think?
I don't think, but personally, I can term it as
No, I can't
dirty.
generalize.
Not at all.
We'd love it if you could give our audience, say, 2 lines from your favorite song.
জিয়াই থাকি এখন সমাজ.
Hi guys, if you're watching today's episode and you're somewhere from Digboy, Jorhat, well then this show, this intro, this particular guest deserves a special like because our guest today is superstar singer and composer Joi Barua. Joyda, of course, is from Jorhat in Assam, who went on to, of course, do playback singing for Assamese, Hindi, and Telugu films. His work is very popular in films like Devdi, Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara, Udan, and a couple of others, of course. Let's not take all the names. Recently, Joyda has performed with the London Philharmonic, which is an orchestra and is a feat that no other artist has achieved, at least from Assam. He's composing with the orchestra and very soon he's going to be performing with them. He's in Guwahati doing a series of concerts called the Lighthouse Concert. Of course, tar bikhoy ami aru hunim, but without wasting a lot of your time, please welcome to the show, Joi Barua. Welcome to the show, Joyda. Thank you so much for giving us the time. Now, before we get into a lot of detailed conversation, let's ask you the basic question: how's life? What has been keeping you busy these days?
I think life's amazing, and life's what you make of it. And I don't really like quoting people, but one thing stays with me. It's like Chaplin said, "Why do you want a meeting? Or why do you want a meaning? Life's a desire." So I think that crept into me very unseemingly, unknowingly, and I think that is a dictum by which I go. Life's really amazing, and what I desire, I try to be there. It's not an attainment. It's like, am I living the desire? It's probably more like it, and it could be different things for different people. Like what do you do with the desire? Do you attain? Do you live it? Do you jump on it? So I think I'm trying to live with what I desire, and things have been great.
Good. What have you been keeping busy with these days?
These days have brought me into the lighthouse, so as to speak. It's an idea. Probably it'll be a foundation that deals that will focus conversations with people, special people who've created social impact through their work. And my personal quest is I go after those people who have tried to create that kind of impact. So this is the lighthouse. That is an effort towards finding people and focusing on specific work and specific impact they have created. I believe that's really the true test of an individual. Like we all do what we do, but what do we impact is, I think, what changes society. Are you really doing your bit to create a little difference for the 10 people around you, for the 100 people around you?
We'll get into the Lighthouse. I'm aware about the Lighthouse concert that you are doing here, the first leg and the inaugural leg in Guwahati. But before we go there, I'd love to hear from you about the background, some of your journey, your early days, how you got started. And today, you're in a position where you want to create impact. How has that journey been? What have you been doing all this while? If you could tell our viewers that.
I think, if you ask me, I think it's just been a love affair with, it's not been a person, it's been music. And gradually, as with whatever I did, I think for me, the impact of what I was doing was changing all the time. If it was just singing a song in the beginning, then it was creating. If it was creating, it was more. But having said that, I grew up in small town Jorhat, and learned things around my. Grew up in my great grandfather's poetry, Dhuli Konamoy. So that had early impact on what I would do all the time. Like even the songs I heard growing up in the small town were songs that had impact. So life in a Catholic school where I consider my first principal, my first guru, and again the songs and the hymns, they did create a specific notion inside me as to what it could be. You know, so Catholic school, small town Assam, Shillong, moving on to Shillong, the hills, seeing amazing musicians there. I think music has been that constant which has impacted me all the time and how it brought about change. Coming to Guwahati, Delhi, Bombay, some other parts of the world. So it has been music, art, creation, movies, finding my way back into the Northeast to understand folklore, revisit them with my work, and to understand the nature of tribal histories of our state, in particular, the Northeast in general, understanding that identity, how rich we are, and then discovering the truest sense of ourselves, of our people, which I don't think I would have if I had not made a journey back into understanding. Geographically, my GPS is Bombay, but my heart could be anywhere. Most of the time, it's home. But I like to create a distance between the objective and myself so that I can create from a point of, there's a point there. There's a distance between what I do. Some of my work has taken me abroad. I've been working with the symphonies. Very lucky, and I consider that an amazing part of what I do. I've been working with the Royal Philharmonic, the London Symphony, and so it's maybe it's a few things or it's a lot of things, but it's been an exciting thing.
So now when you started the answer, you said, music has been my one constant. Constant. I've either been creating or I have been singing or composing. So music is your constant. How have you seen music change or music evolve with you as a person? How has your journey, seen music change? Not music changing you. I don't know if my question makes sense or not, but
I think it's the yin and yang situation. I think, one would answer the other. But, like I said in the beginning, it was just understanding a song, listening to a song, then probably trying to mime the song. As you say, you copy the song, and that's your closest. That's how you start singing. Then you try to understand the singer. Okay, you kind of mimic the singer. Then you try to understand why is the singer singing this way. Then you understand it's not a singer anymore, it's the artist who's created. So you cannot mimic a John Lennon when he does Imagine. You have to understand where it comes from. So then when you understand why Lennon created Imagine, then it gives you the answer of what you have to do with your life. You have to understand this. Then you start dwelling into yourself of what can I do with the situation around me, within and without. And then you start diving in. I'm saying that people like Lennon and all are catalysts. They trigger that specific moment where you take the leap of faith. Oh, where do I go from here? No, then you become this one. You journey back into yourself. That from there on your music changes because then you realize what you are. As a matter of fact, I think it's a great question because we grew up in rebellion. It was dark times. Jorhat's a great place, don't get me wrong, but there was hardly too much encouragement on what we were listening, in what we loved, and it was not really appreciated. So when your love is not appreciated, what you do, So when you revisit the time, you realize you've been fighting a different war, and just because we were not encouraged, just because we were not given this, that, it didn't change the notion of love. Then you start fighting. And then I think that notion made me, my music has, I like to come across as somebody breaking the wall all the time. I don't know if this is the right time, but I was talking to Rudy Wolang yesterday, and amongst our gurus, in the 90s, we had seen him, this man with the guitar, with his own music. It was unthinkable at that point of time. Like, you listen to Bhupen Hazarika, okay, legend. But there you're seeing somebody who's doing it in front of you all the time. And I met him. I never had the courage to speak to him. I met him yesterday. And then Rudy was asking me about how do you take it? It was like a very person to person. And then you realize, you've been trying to break that wall all the time. Because you didn't get it then, you are now testing yourself all the time. I probably am a warrior that way. I will crack down those walls. What I'm not is a lover boy. I don't sing those kind of songs.
Do you think artists are not always appreciated in their time? Do you think?
What I think is you're asking the right question. That you are. I think the most amazing guys, I think they were amazing. A lot of guys we really looked up because they were beyond their time. We appreciated the fact because they are beyond their time. Even somebody like a Freddie Mercury, all right, it was great. But when they were alive, he was great, but it was not as great if you look at the movie now and if you understand the story. And we were very young when he passed away. Now you look back, and I think if he was alive, he would have been the singular most important person in the music business today, if I've answered your question. Mozart went into a mass grave. So the people you end up appreciating, they are doing seminal work because they are already in the future. And if you're in the future, you run the risk of not being understood in the present time. And that becomes a hard challenge because you look up to these people, you want to create work like this. You're inspired. You think, let me create for tomorrow. Let me tell the world where it needs to go. You don't want to be preachy, but you think you have a point, you have an opinion. But that is in the future. And the world is not ready for it now. The world doesn't give a damn. But therein lies the challenge. Good question, sir.
Now I want to understand, because you correctly said that your recent work has included work with the Royal Philharmonic, and I think
The London Symphony.
the London Symphony also. So you've moved from, say, singing in your hometown to performing in Bollywood, and then now you've moved to London performing with the orchestra. How has that change been? How is it to perform with the orchestra? I don't think many people have got the opportunity to even forget watching performing. Yeah,
I'm a composer on the project.
right.
I'm a composer. I will be performing with them. If you ask me, I had never not imagined this. And so it was not a load on me. I think that my love affair with music has one thing. It had no ambition.
Okay.
If you get me right, it has no ambition.
Selflessly, you were doing this.
I loved it. You love somebody and you're walking down the street, so there's no ambition down there, right? So it's great that you're with somebody in that period of time where you both get to enjoy what it is. And this is precisely the walk that has extended into other things. No, I feel amazingly blessed for a musician who's unlearned, who's not learned, who's not been taught, who's had to pick up from here and there. I think life's been kind. I think God exists.
Wonderful. Now I want to talk to perhaps a little bit about the new generation. Okay, there's a new generation of listeners every year, every 6 months. I think the most successful track in the song keeps changing. How do you see this? Whether today's generation is into pop, EDM, R&B, what do you think that they are into?
The only constant is change, my friend. So it is the challenge of every generation to find themselves and to keep on discovering.
Now, why I ask this question is also to understand how does it impact your creation of music, or is it just that you will continue to create what makes sense to you?
I work across different different situations. I work as an artist, which is my journey, which is a story I choose to tell you. You can choose to like it or not like it. That is my personal journey. I work for film, which is set in the contemporary milieu. There we work with a different plan. It's a different kind of art that has to sell now. I don't want to trivialize the word sell, but it has to work now, for now. And as creators, all of them come with their ideas of what's the audience going to be like. And let me not demean it by saying a target audience, People are coming, people are investing, and so it's a different meeting of minds. It's a different kind of a plan. So I'm a composer who works with other creators. The challenge is for all of us to come together on the journey and figure it right. So these are different, probably hats I wear, if that's the right word. I was a composer outside the country. So that caters to a different thing. Thankfully, I've learned to, but my personal journey as an artist is the story I choose to tell.
Yeah.
Uh,
Which could be varied in different genres, of course.
it could be different subjects. I choose to pursue my folklore, my history, and it's worked out amazing so far. And a lot of people don't think it really works, but I think I like to believe in my story in the first place, or whether it translates into great listening. So there are some that that people can't relate to, but that's okay. It's my journey.
And again, because we're talking about the current generation and stuff, I still have a follow-up question. The industries, everyone's talking about AI, whether it's art, whether it's graphic, whether it's music, everyone's talking about AI, AI, AI. Where do you see the impact of AI? What do you see is the impact of AI in the music industry?
I think pertinent question again. 3 days, there was a journalist who was speaking to me, and I'll do that interview with him on AI. So basically, what you have in AI is basically you just feed the AI what you need. For example, you can type in 6 sentences about love, and you can say, I want a ballad. It's going to come out with a ballad. And you want to say you want alternative rock, it'll come out with alternative rock, which I did myself. 6 lines. First, we had this guy who was singing a beautiful love song, and the same words turned around into angst-written alternative rock. It's a big challenge for people who aren't very original. Okay, as a listener, you could be an end user for AI. You could type in sentence and say, "What if Joi Barua sang this?" So it also becomes your choice. So whether you want to listen to AI as Joy,
right,
or Joy as Joy. So that is one. I think immediately what will happen is a lot of producers will go for cost cutting.
Okay.
In the sense of movies, unless you safeguard those rights, like what happened in the US. The Writers Union, I think they struck for 6 months. They said, we have to find a regulation. It's fine, AI can do movies, whatever, but we need to find a way. It cannot. I think in India, unless the regulation comes, I think immediately a lot of work in all, if you're talking of creatives here, the whole thing, I think immediately a lot of people will just go that way. Artists will be in trouble if they're looking for commissioned work, because the cheaper alternative already exists, and in an amazing way.
That's a wonderful answer. Now, because you've kind of addressed the reality that this is going to happen. People are going to suffer about jobs if you're not out there. Well, now I want to talk to you about another reality. Maybe a cliched question, but still want to understand from you. Is the Bollywood industry, perhaps the Bollywood music industry, a little dirty? Is it in murky waters? What do you think?
No, I don't think you can generalize that. No, I think every industry will have some things which are amazing and some things which are not very amazing. And I worked there for a while, and I think as it's evolving, the nature of every beast is evolving. I think it's getting amazing. A lot of new people from around the country, and with the opening of internet, leveraging talents from around the country, I think you're hearing amazing variety here. So I don't think, but personally, I can term it as dirty. Not at all.
Okay. And how I do have a kind of a long form question, if you allow me to read it. See, the internet, YouTube shorts, Instagram reels, this has all given young new musicians a platform to jumpstart their career. Do you think Joi Barua would have been a different Joi Barua, if he would have had access to all of this? If you were a creator, a composer who was, say, perhaps in his 20s now?
Yeah, that's a tricky thing. We would have been affected by the times and the technology of the times and the audience of the times. But like I said, this, I don't think I'm just a singer. I'm an artist. I am dwelling into myself. So that journey of diving into yourself it's not about technology. It's not about audience. It's about what you want to say. You feed it through a technology. You feed it through a technology. For me to reach you, I need technology. And I think those channels will evolve further. What is today will not be there 5 years later. It'll so drastically change. But the nature of music will also change. But we've had songs 100 years ago. We're having songs now. They might get lengthier, they might get shorter. It's an exciting thing.
Just kind of tapering these Bollywood related questions, because you are the closest closest we all have in Assam, someone who's working so closely in Bollywood for such a long time.
No, there are other people.
Of course, there are other people, but then right now we have this opportunity to ask you some questions, so we'll continue. So, I assume, do you like Diljit Dosanjh as an artist?
Yeah, I do.
He's a good artist, good singer.
I'll have to tell you this. I have to tell you this. I was talking to a very dear friend, Manish, and we were discussing an artist. And Manish was telling me very nice things about him. Like, this artist is this way, amazing, and he's got character in his conversations, in his work, and there's character there. There's spine there. So, and Manish and I are very close friends. Manish is an amazing documentary maker. We are doing things together. Like, just to put you in context, I said, like, how's this guy's music is? You know what Manish told me? He said, Manish told me, Joy, मेरे को तो इतना music पता नहीं, लेकिन उसका नियति मेरे लिए music है. I think, wow. I think I'll put this for Diljit.
I think that's fantastic. So now I asked you about Diljit because I have a question about our industry. We also have a name. We also have names like, of course, people who are doing well. There's Anurag Saikia. There's Papon. There is Nilotpal Bora, who are all going, singing and performing in Bombay also. But no one has blown up like a Diljit Dosanjh. What do you think could be the reason? Do you think there is there an industrial fight? Is there a hindrance somewhere that there is no one from Assam is like blowing up?
But you have to understand that Diljit blew up with the Punjabi audience, and the Punjabi, that audience with their music has always been very big. They have had amazing pride in their music, whether it was good or bad.
Oh, right.
Diljit didn't blow up because of Bollywood. Diljit blew up before Bollywood found him, and I don't think Diljit's the next actor to look out for. He's an artist.
Yeah.
He will do what it takes. If there's another role for him, he'll do it. That is what we like about him. But the Punjabi industry by themselves, they have had great pride in what they do, and they have been, I listen to the music. So for somebody who doesn't get too much of the language, it might sound, but there's great poetry there. There are songs of resistance. What did Moosewala do? Amazing music, but if you listen, there were songs of resistance. He was relevant to the times. So the next generation don't only have a music icon, they have a personality. We had Bhupen Hazarika, because he spoke about the times. And that is where we are learning. I am. That's the nature of music. Art, either it speaks up to something or it stands up for something.
Right. Oh, wow. That's very, very well said.
It is, yeah. Otherwise, it's just entertainment. You put on your jukebox and dance. So that's where an artist is different from a jukebox, right?
And do you meet artists, these artists that we've taken the name of, do you hang out with them in Assam, mostly, the artists from Assam?
Yeah, sometimes you get together, but most of us are traveling, doing different things. And so I would have loved to hang out more, but unfortunately that's not the case. But when we hang out, we do have a blast.
Take care. Now, as we kind of taper the conversation before the last two questions that we have, you can take a breather if you want. We'd love it if you could give our audiences, say, 2 lines from your favorite song. Could be your own song, could be your latest composition also.
I don't know, let it not be my own song.
Okay.
But some people have heard this, when I have sung this. But I loved Bhupen Hazarika's song, which went from love to addressing the social system, and how his failure in the commitment, not his, the failure of commitment from both sides, how it taught him to make an equal society. He took it beyond. So I'll just give you 2 lines from there. Some people have heard this. I've not sung this on a concert, but the social media has done what it has done. He says, in the end, after everything, after love, he says, Ji aay tha ki এখন সমাজ গঢ়িবৰ মোৰ মন আছে য'ত সোণতকৈও মানুহৰ দাম অলপ হ'লেও বেছি আছে অলপ হ'লেও বেছি আছে.
Nice. Very nice. That's well done. Now, thank you for that, by the way. Thank you so much. As I mentioned, that we'll kind of bring the conversation to a close. Now, I want to bring back the reason why you're here in Guwahati and you're starting a new project, which Gplus is very proudly associated with, called the Lighthouse Concert. We'd love to understand more a little bit in depth, in details about what is it that you do. The initial bit when you had explained to us that you want to break the you want to create impact with art, you want to give back. If you can tell our viewers today, what is it?
I think, like much like what you're doing, I think there is the space for more conversations, relevant conversation exists, and as one person, you can only do so much, and that is where the Lighthouse as an entity will steer conversations with people who have had social impact to the work. That is paramount.
Can you give me a small example? Perhaps our audiences can understand better. What do you mean? Who would you be talking to? How would you be talking to?
For example, Rima Das, she did it from here. For me, that's impact. Look at she might have learned and honed the skills around the world, but she picked up a camera. She did it here. She hacked the system. She did what she had to do. I don't mean social impact in terms of opening a school only. There are so many ways of creating impact. You show people that it can be done. So this is a basic premise of what it is. Purnima Devi Borman, the Green Oscar. She works with the Hargila birds. They are the scavenging bone crushers. She's raised an army of women who work for the conservation of these birds. It is impact on another level. Now, these people are very relevant to me. We have a huge treasure trove of heritage here. I'm speaking of my state in particular. Cultural, natural. We could be doing what we are doing in life, but what are we doing about what we have? It's not that, you are making your money watching your own world burn, right? And I look up to people like them. This is what I want to address in serious conversations and through an artist's perspective, For example, if you were a journalist and I were a musician, which I am, we go to a place, we come up with two different perspectives of this place. I want to address the artistic perspective and whether it will help more people access their work and to understand what's needed. Does it make it easier for people to understand it? So that is what the Lighthouse is planning to do. We are heralding this whole thing with the concert. It's called the Lighthouse Concert. And me and my friend Rajnikanta Saikia, we had discussed this whole thing for over 8-9 months, and it's still, and we've not given a complete tight handle to this because it also evolves in time. We've left a little room open for what it can be done. We are moving ahead on this. So while talking to people on social impact, and this concert that heralds this is July 6th, we've invited Rudy Wallang because he had impacted me. So that was social impact for us. And he heralded a whole new genre of musicians. A lot of the guys that you hear today playing amazing guitar, vocals, music, is because they saw an original person like Rudy in the 90s and they knew that this could be done. So there's a concert and there's the conversations. And I think we'll steer awareness towards a certain problem that needs to be addressed. We will be announcing that soon. but it has to bring awareness to one central notion. We will choose to address something that needs addressing.
So art for impact.
Definitely.
All right, cool. On that note, thank you so much, Joyda, for giving your time, and it was a fantastic conversation. I hope you had fun.
Of course I did. Of course. Thank you for having me over. I look at your conversation, but I'd never met you, and this is a great way to start. Thank you for having me here and in the Lighthouse, which is really what I want to do. It's the soul of me right now. To centerpiece this year.
All right, super. Thanks.
Thank you.